Hello, my friends, and welcome back to New Dalancia, our Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign. At about midday, the caravan set up to share a meal that quickly degraded into a vomitous mess of poison that disabled the majority of the guards and civilians on the expedition. The friends quickly learned that mushrooms would cure the poison and set out to locate more. They found a source near a den of bugbears from which they stealthily procured, that was a mouthful, the remedy. After returning to the caravan, the adventurers provided the mushrooms to the sick, and the expedition set up camp for the night. It's every time I'm writing those that I realize exactly how short these sessions are. Oh, thank you for the sub, man. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Not just mushrooms, magic shrooms.
Magic shrooms. All right. So you guys have set up camp for the night. Everybody has experienced a long rest at this point, so please reset all spell slots, all HP values of everything. Let me know when you guys are ready.
Yeah, I'll set it here.
Ready.
All right. In the morning, all the dwarves begin to take down camp, and you all set out back on the road. And continue on toward the Kukfulkoko Mountains. Kukfulkoklo Mountains, I think is how that's actually pronounced. These are all very much a mouthful.
Kupo.
Kupo. The Kupo Mountains. I'm just gonna call them that from now on. A few hours pass as you guys are traveling, and once again the carts pull over and come to a stop, and a meal is prepared.
Food.
Everyone hops out of the cart and starts to partake of the food. This time it's a much more simple kind of meal. We have some fish, we have some rice, some other grains like that.
Misku doesn't partake in any of the food. She's going to eat her own rations.
She eats her own rations.
I saw what happened last time.
There's no lake water in this food, right?
Yeah, however, there's no lake water this time. This is all from stores that you guys currently have.
Tess gonna grab herself a plate.
As you guys are chowing down, two of the dwarven guards approach you. They say, "Adventurers, adventurers! Our scouts have found something up ahead. Please follow us."
Okay.
I'm still holding her plate of food. Tess is gonna stand up. She's just gonna eat while she walks.
Is everybody following the guards here?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay. So the guards lead you along the road for a time, and they don't say much else to you as you're kind of walking. After a time, they come to a stop. The both of them, kind of in unison. It's eerie, really. One of them turns to you, followed by the other shortly after, and says, "That's far enough."
Oh, there.
We're getting off to this pretty early this time, so I'd like everybody to go ahead and roll an initiative check.
No, you.
Yeah, no, you.
I'm actually going to drag you guys in right now, so bear with me while I set up the scene. I have the turn order going. Just go ahead and roll your initiative. Oh, wait, I'm not sure if you can, actually. Give me a second. I'll get that set up real quick. Misku.
I mean, we could, but we could put ourselves in.
Anvir, Tess. Right? Is that it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? No. No, that's not it. What the hell is Ahara?
Not unless you want. Oh yeah.
5, 6, 7. Okay. As you as this dwarf is speaking to you, this dwarven guard, his skin starts to kind of melt away from his face, revealing that he is actually a tiefling wearing a mask.
Is that what happened to you in the fire? I'm gonna say, looking at Tess.
Brandishing a crossbow, he points it at you. And he says, "I'm sorry it had to come to this, but, you know, business is business."
Business is what business?
Whose business?
That's not for you to know.
You know, when I'm just down to my socks, it's business time. That's why they're called business socks.
Then why mention business if you can't tell us what your business is?
That was what, a 14?
Is that a cool guy move?
I'll get you, Cyrene. There we go. I was like, why is that not working? And I need to help you guys set up these initiative buttons, because they're totally... I know you have one, Ahara, because I was looking at your character earlier.
Uh-oh.
I just always click on the character sheet.
Yeah, the character sheet doesn't put you on the turn order, though. So
What you have to do is you have to click your.
Yeah, you have to
your
click your
token
token and then do it. That's kind of the difficult piece of that. Okay.
Once I get used to it, it's not that bad.
Do we have everybody? 1, 2, 3, 6. Am I forgetting anybody? Misku, Alphalin,
Not unless
Cyrene.
you don't have Antarius.
No, Antarius did not come with you.
Okay, then that should be everyone, I think, unless there's any other. Isn't there supposed to be a second one?
A second one, what?
You said there was like 2 of these dwarves.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. So the other dwarf, he melts away into nothing.
Okay.
Weird.
Ian Fear, you've seen weirder.
I've done weirder.
You've done weirder.
Ian Fear does weird stuff.
So as you guys kind of look around, let me actually roll some. I think it's GM roll, right? Yeah, that worked. Can you guys tell me what your passive perceptions are? It's on your character sheet.
Is it our skills?
It's right underneath the skills.
Oh my god.
Passive. Mine is passive wisdom / perception, or in parentheses.
Same. Mine's 10.
Mine's 11.
Okay. Perfect. So-
Mine is 11.
Whoops. That's the wrong character. Okay. Just made a couple of rolls because I wanted to see how this was going to play out. see. This is a okay. So what was the highest number that we had on that list? Was that 14?
12?
16.
16? Okay. Ooh. You know what? That actually would make some sense. So everybody, because they rolled really fucking low. So you guys notice some movement from either side of you. The tiefling who is pointing this crossbow at you, Misku, he says, "We do have you surrounded, so if you play nice and put your weapons down, you can really make this a lot quicker for all of us."
Misku is heavily unimpressed.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you. Ahara, you're up.
Right. So, I think these guys on the side, I'm gonna kill one of them. That's a good plan. So I'm gonna send Talos off towards this guy over here.
Or at least
And
to go hunting in that direction.
So these guys are both in the trees. So they're
they're
actually
up
up
high.
in the tree, yeah. I'm sorry, I should have I should have
No,
told
it's
you
cool.
that. So yeah, so you guys catch both of these guys. They're just kind of in the trees lying in wait, both of them with hand crossbows. And they're all trained on you.
All right. I'm gonna send Talos up to stand there so somebody else can get initiative. And I'm still gonna put a hunter's mark over on this guy in the tree to the right.
Your hunter's mark is on.
And I'm gonna fire.
We need some music here. Give me just a moment. Let's do some combat. All
Bow,
right.
chicka, bow, wow.
Bow, chicka, bow, wow. All right, so you open fire.
Oh, hey. Urza's on.
Looks like you caught him flat-footed. Hey, Urza, welcome to the show.
17.
That's 17. That's a hit, yeah.
12.
Woo, 12 damage. Misku, you're up.
Bonking time.
I see your rage.
And we're gonna bonk.
All right, we've got a 12. That is a miss, sir.
Okay, and I will frenzy for next turn.
Valphalin also rushes forward. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the...
I think they should have advantage, right? Because the wolf did the help thing.
Wait, what?
So oh wait, never mind. It works the other way around. I take it back. Forget anything I said.
Val brings out his great sword and he takes a slash at the robed tiefling. Looks like we have a hit, fellas. 6 damage. Oh god, I've got to stop doing that. Oops, did I do that on Valphalin?
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry about that. Cyrene, you're up.
All right, so Cyrene is going to flitter up here and kind of be like a little bit to the side behind Misku, and then she's going to magic missiles at this guy.
Your magic missiles pelt him, but nothing seems to happen. He just kind of doesn't flinch whatsoever. They just kind of almost hit him, and they, I don't want to say they ricochet, but they kind of dissipate before him.
That could be a problem.
All right. Whew. Screen. Passive perception. What was that roll? What is everybody's, everybody that has a passive perception of above 11? You guys see a very familiar face emerge from one of the rocks over this way and make his way towards Cyrene. Cyrene, you don't notice this. Oh, where'd he go? There he is. He is making... Whoops. I did this wrong. Sneak attack. Did that actually roll? Anything happen there?
Yeah, given a minute, you know how D&D roll D20 takes a while.
Does that not do anything? No, that's a global damage modifier. Okay. So no, I think I did that right. We have an advantage roll. And then I guess I just rolled the 2d6.
Yeah.
That is 9 plus 11 damage. I think that drops Cyrene.
That's
Eee.
20 damage.
That is 20 damage.
She's gonna make like little coughing noises and look real sad.
She drops. So, Cyrene, from here, on each of your turns, you will make a death save. To
Okay.
do that, you'll just click on the death saves on your character sheet.
Okay.
And unless you get healed by some other force.
So her health points are 0.
Her health points are at 0 currently. That was a lot of damage. Okay. Bling. This is an earth tremor. So this is going to affect Misku, Valphalin, and Wolf, friend.
So they have to make a dexterity save.
Yes, so you guys need to make a dexterity save. Everyone please roll dex. And I think that also affects Rolo. You guys remember Rolo? Whoops, that's not a saving throw. Right, yes it is. Okay, and that's going to be versus his spell save DC. Misku, you pass. Ahara? Your wolf takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage.
I was gonna say, it looks like it rolled it.
Yeah, it was a 5.
Well, no, I mean, in the spell itself, it rolled the higher level or just the regular level.
What?
So when you click the spell, besides the dexterity save, it also.
Oh,
gives
it did?
you-
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
there it is. Yeah, 6 damage on him.
I like the second one better.
Everybody that rolled above, let me see. So yeah, Misku and Rolo are both going to take 1 damage. Oh yeah, I forgot to roll for Phelan. Here we go.
Wait, I'm taking 1 damage?
Yeah, 1 damage.
So, since I'm resistant to bludgeoning, like, is that gonna be like half damage?
It gets rounded down, so I guess that would be 0.
Looks like Phelan takes no damage and is not knocked. Oh no, hang on, it's the other way around. Roll and miss.
Yeah, he needs to take the damage.
And is
And
knocked.
what?
Yeah, it is knocked prone.
What would we have to roll to avoid that?
Dexterity save.
Yeah,
Right.
you passed your dexterity save. Yeah, you're not
But
knocked prone.
Phelan did.
Phelan did not.
Gotcha.
And that was also 6 damage. Okay, and we have... Okay. Sorry, I got a bunch of character sheets over here. This is an acrobatics check. That is a pass. Wait, that's the correct token? I get these two confused. Who rolled that?
It says Roland Mooncare.
Yeah, Roland.
You,
Yeah, that's Italia. This is Roland. Okay, so he needs to... Whoops. Yeah, there we go. Makes his way over to you and stops. Where's the other one? There you are. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do with her. Oh, yes, it is. It absolutely is. That's 10. So she kind of fumbles this and slips out of the tree and lands on her butt. She's prone. Oh, come on, give me the things back. That's funny. Roland, however, he kind of flips out of this tree, lands on his feet, and scrambles over to you, Ianfear. However, that takes up his entire turn. He's not able to move past that. Ianfear, you're up.
So I'm gonna kind of pull out from my side my bag of gold and holding it towards the guy and point towards the guy who just fumbled. To motion. Would you like to help me attack him instead and be on our side?
Ooh. How big is your purse? How much money do you have in that thing?
I have 88 gold, 137 silver, and 27 copper.
Go ahead and roll a charisma check.
Sure.
No dice. He continues his assault.
Alright, so then in that case, with the other hand, I'm going to point it at his face and I'm going to use my Chaos Bolt. And
Chaos Bolt.
I'm going to use my Tides of Chaos to give me advantage on this attack.
Nice. Ouch.
Actually,
That's a hit. Also, please roll your...
Yeah, this is a level 1 spell. Oh god.
Welp. Please go ahead and roll your Wild Magic Surge. 86. Let me pull up that Wild Magic Surge table. '86, 86, 86. 86. Where are you?
Anytime before you regain the use of this feature, the game can have you roll on the Wild Magic table immediately after you cast it. So here's something interesting I want to, before we say what happens. So what it says on Tides of Chaos is anytime before you regain the use of this feature, because after I use it, I have to have a long rest to regain it. But it says the DM can have you roll on the Wild Magic Surge table immediately after you cast a sorcerer spell of first level or higher. You then regain the use of this feature. Because I'm rolling on the Wild Magic Surge, would that qualify as regaining the use of the feature?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
Quick question: how far away from camp are we?
Pretty far. Yes, probably we're walking for about, I'd want to say 10 to 15 minutes. So yeah, that happens, Ian Fear. Let me just go ahead and... Oh, 3 of them, huh? Jesus.
Oh, is it mirror image?
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna set...
Well, that's about the same effect.
I'm going to set all of these to non-generic tokens so that they do not share your HP value. I'm also going to turn them each... Well, yeah, let me... Just to kind of make this a little bit easier, I'm going to turn them blue. Or put a little blue marker on them.
I mean, technically speaking, they should all look like me, or they should all be something where, basically, I think, isn't it like... if he strikes a fake one, they disappear, and then if he strikes the real me or something else happens?
If you have 3 duplicate... Well, you can use your action to dismiss the illusory duplicates. Each time a creature targets you with an attack during the spell's duration, roll a d20 to determine whether the attack instead targets one of your duplicates. If you have 3 duplicates, you must roll a 6 or higher to change the attack's target to a duplicate. With 2 duplicates, you must roll an 8 or higher. With 1 duplicate, you must roll an 11 or higher.
Okay.
I'll just keep that up. Tess, you're up.
Seeing her fairy friend fall to the ground in a little clump of lifeless energy, Tess would like to kind of run up to her, not sprint, but just walk as fast as she can.
Okay.
And then I would like the Scoop wants to scoop. Tess wants to scoop up. Scoop wants to leave the stoop. Tess wants to scoop up Cyrene's body and hold her while she uses Spare the Dying.
Touch a living creature that has 0 hit points. The creature becomes stable. This spell has no effect. Oh, cool. Okay, so this, so you are stable but unconscious.
She's gonna hold Cyrene to her chest and say, "I have you, my friend."
And she's just gonna twitch a little bit back to life. She can't say anything or move, but you can feel it.
She goes,
You can feel it.
me, 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 me. She's
But
a
it's
fairy. So.
Yeah, because she's tiny.
Ahara, we're back to you.
Alright, Talos is going to use half his movement to stand up. And attack with advantage because his allies are next to him.
All right.
Seriously?
Wow.
That is a
Hey,
miss.
I I saw double critical fail on a roll.
Wow.
Yeah.
All
9 and
right.
9.
He's gonna use his. So he's got 40. He's gonna come back with his other. Just back away a little. And Ahara is gonna kind of come midway to meet him and attack this dude over here again.
Who is pro?
All right.
So he gets advantage on that, right? Because he's prone.
Yep. And that's a hit. Drops.
Nice.
The arrow kind of sticks in her side and she goes limp. Misku, you're up.
Time to hammer some nails.
That is a hit.
Damn.
Nice.
Cool.
13 damage. He is bloodied.
Big
We're
bonk.
good. Bonking again.
That is a hit.
Yes.
Also drops.
Hell yeah, buddy.
Misku swings overhead. The first strike brings him to his knees. The second flattens him out.
Flattens him out. Where did I put his character sheet? I'm like buried over here.
Misku kind of takes her Tatsubo by the handle and slams it in the ground and puts a fist on her hip. She's like, good work.
Oh yeah, I wasn't doing that anymore. Okay.
I made this.
Do we want to leave one alive?
I mean, they can be brought back.
That's fair.
They can be healed up and all of that. Valphalin moves over to Rollo.
Is he back from? Did he have to take an action to not be prone?
Oh shoot, yes he does. So
It's
we're gonna
half
call
movement.
that.
Well, yeah. So luckily,
Yeah, half movement.
That should take just the whole.
Yeah, that just takes his entire action. So he kind of gets up from his from being laid flat, and he strides over to Rollo. You again. To what do we owe this pleasure? Oh, you know, business is business. Cyrene, you're up.
I know you're trying to hang in there, but I got you.
So I'm unconscious though, right? So like, I can't.
Oh, yeah.
I can't really do anything.
You need to roll...
Well, she was stabilized.
I know, but you need to roll a Constitution check? No, you need to actually no. You're still at 0 hit points. You need to revive before you can actually start rolling for coming up. So yeah, you're right. Okay.
He is dead.
This is enemy turn. Yeah, I know it's a placeholder for enemy turn because
Right.
I'm rolling
So what
all
do I
of them
do?
at once.
No,
Nothing yet. Nothing yet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Until you're brought back to 1 hit point, then you'll start rolling Constitution checks to see if you awaken.
Okay.
Where did I put? Ah, yes, Rollo. Okay. Rollo produces a small orb and throws it at the ground, and it explodes in this in this green thick cloud that immediately fills your lungs. Everyone, please roll a Constitution check. Everyone within, let's say, 20 feet of him. So that does include you, Ahara,
and your wolf.
and your wolf. Misku, Valphalin. Okay, and this is poison damage. Let me actually grab the, ugh. What was it again? Was it Stinking Cloud? Yeah, it's Stinking Cloud.
Ooh, a fart bomb.
Precisely. Yellow, nauseating gas. Okay. Okay, and because he's not a spellcaster, this would be a DC 10. About Phelan lurches over and gagging. Ahara, you're okay. Did you also roll for your wolf?
Yeah, the puppy got a
Yeah,
20.
it's above.
Your Dogface got up, right? Talus got up last
Yeah.
turn? Okay. Tess, did you roll? What did you roll? Okay, you're safe. Misku, you're safe. Let's see. So after that, Rolo. Vanishes. Okay, now we have... Right, what's your name again? Yeah, you're
It's-
okay.
yeah,
You're the correct guy. It's hard for me to tell these two apart. They look the same. I mean, for good reason.
Moon Cairn.
Yes. Yes.
And what does it say I have to have him roll if he were to attack me?
So he actually flips over your head and lands on the other side of the group there. I'd like you to go ahead and roll an attack of opportunity against him.
Sure. Which I guess I'll use the dagger.
Miss. As he approaches the body of the other cloaked figure, he leans down and touches his hood, and they both immediately and magically vanish. That was quick.
So I say we grab this Mr. Dead and Buried here, well, Dead and Bloody here, bring him back. Let someone bring him up and let him start talking.
So you guys haul him back to the caravan. He's very much unconscious, bleeding to death, I might add. But you drag him back. It takes a little while. 10, 15 minutes to haul him back. I'm sure somebody has the strength to carry it to, like, over the shoulder, like carry him,
I got it.
Yeah, nah. Don't even bother doing that. Just drag him on the ground. Let him get hit by all those rocks and stuff.
Sure. So you guys drag him on the ground. Shall I start rolling damage?
I'm gonna go ahead and heal Cyrene real quick.
Cyrene, you're healed for 18, looks like? Or no, 10, I guess, higher level. What level are you casting this at?
3.
3? Okay, so 10. You're healed for 10.
Thank you.
Misku's just gonna like shoulder carry the guy.
Yeah, I guess.
We should
Misky,
probably wrap him up or like tie him up before we try bringing him back.
yeah, anybody have any rope?
I do.
I do.
You guys take a length of rope and affix it to him as best you can. Who wants to
Both
tie
the
the
hands
knot?
and the feet.
Who wants to tie the knots?
I vote Misku.
I'm tying knots.
Misku, you
my
can either
hands.
roll a survival check, or if you've got a different check you'd like to roll,
Maybe dexterity.
or a wisdom if you, or intelligence if you maybe read it somewhere.
If I rolled sleight of hand to tie ropes to make it look like a magic trick.
Sure, yeah, you can. If you want to roll sleight of hand, I'll let you do that.
I'm just gonna roll survival.
Okay.
All right.
Oh god.
I throw the rope at him. Done.
Well, thank you, Misku.
You just kind of like, huh. No, you tie it as best you can, and you know.
Can I watch his tying job and supervise?
I mean, if you want to help him, or if you want to help her,
Sure.
we'll add a 2 to that. It'll be 4. Hey, stuff can still happen. So he is still very much unconscious when you guys return to camp.
I'm
And
gonna return with my 3 clones.
how long do those clones last?
That's a good question. You have the thing on there, don't you?
It's like a minute, isn't it? I thought it wasn't that long.
Oh yeah, I
The
do have
mirror
it.
image?
Yeah, it is 1 minute. So yeah, your clones
Okay.
would have vanished by now.
Okay.
Poof! The other Ian Fears. The other Ian Fears who were copying every action have all vanished.
Darn, just when it was getting fun.
So you guys get back to camp. Govin immediately approaches you. Where did y'all go?
We were told that there was something that was spotted ahead of the caravan. Turns out that something was an ambush for us.
And who is it that told you this?
We'll throw the guy there in front of him. He was disguised as one of our guards, and it turns out one of the fellows who was among the attackers was Rollo Tanglestrand.
Rollo Tangle. Why does that name ring a bell? Should I know that name? Wait. Yes. The halfling, yes?
Yes.
That's right.
Ah. Yes, and what became of Tanglestrand?
He disappeared before we got him.
Disappeared.
I see. What a shame. So you were attacked by a halfling and a tiefling. Obviously that didn't fare well for them.
Well, when you have the heroes of Bunahver, what chance did they really have?
So he kind of pokes the body of the tiefling and he goes, "Seems dead."
Oh, I can help with that. Tess leans forward and she's gonna gently poke the guy's cheek. Boop boop.
Don't want to boop the
She
nose?
says boop boop, and she like boop boops each cheek, and then she boops the tip of the guy's nose. So she goes boop boop boop.
And he immediately goes, his wounds close and he stops bleeding, but he's like
He should be stable now.
unconscious.
What you guys want to do to wake him up is up to you.
Govin says, "I don't see how that helped anything."
Well, he's only mostly dead. Now he's partially alive.
Well, what now?
Do we need to wake him up?
If we intend to question him, that might be a wise choice.
Does anyone need to relieve themselves?
Maybe your dog might have some need to.
You're not thinking of doing that.
Perhaps we should take him off the cart.
You wouldn't do that just in public?
I don't have complete control over such things.
Are we okay? So, are we real talk? Are we getting the wolf to do this, or what are we doing?
I don't know. Like, I would try. I'm not sure if the wolf will do it. I don't know if he's trained that well.
Animal handling.
Yeah, if you want to try animal,
It's gonna be a hard one, but animal handling, please.
unless you want to stick him under a horse or something.
No. That's too difficult. You've just met this creature. Peeing on demand? I don't know about that. So you're like, tell us, go potty. Make water. Your wolf kind of cocks his head to one side. What?
Just go in the bush like the rest of us.
They're not trying to go on the bush. They're trying to go on the tiefling. That was the face I thought you'd make.
I'll just squirt a water skin at his face then.
You squirt this water skin at his face. No good.
Yeah, he's still unconscious because he needs health points.
Still at 0 hit points, guys.
He only gets the level 1 cure wounds.
So he's healed for 2. He starts to kind of come to. His eyes open. They're glassed over.
I'm going to charm person him.
Can you charm a humanoid you can see within range? It must make a wisdom saving throw and does so with advantage if you or companions are fighting it. I wouldn't say that we're fighting it. So
Also, he's just waking up. So
yeah, he is just waking up. So here's his wisdom saving throw. Oh. Immediately, stars appear in his glassed over eyes.
that just makes it.
So immediately, stars appear in his glassed over eyes, and he looks up at Ian Fear and is. Oh my.
Yes, I know. Meeting one of the heroes of Bunahver certainly has to be an experience that you didn't think you would have.
You're
But
one
here
of
we
the
are.
heroes of Bunahver?
Of course.
I think I've heard of you. You're all sexy.
Well,
Tess fucking slaps him.
He doesn't seem fazed by it.
oh, he likes it rough.
He doesn't seem fazed by it. Apparently he does like it rough. He's charmed.
All right. Well, since you seem to be so enraptured by our presence, maybe you could tell us who it was who put you up to the task of finding us.
Oh, I don't ask many questions of the people who hire me. But it was a good amount of money. It was a very good amount of money, which I guess I'm not going to collect, I suppose.
Well, maybe if you give us what you have, we'll take you back to them, and we'll see if we can renegotiate.
Negotiate? Interesting. How? You seem to have plans for everything, so how would you negotiate and I still get my money?
Well, clearly they must have not anticipated our might. Maybe if we were to talk them down from their erroneous position, they would be willing to recompense you for introducing us to them.
Why does my head hurt?
You must have
Misku
fainted
just
after
kind of like
you
gives
met
him
us.
a head nod.
Why am I covered in blood? I don't remember taking a bath either. I'm wet. What's going on? It's not raining. Did I take a bath? And if I took a bath, then why do I have blood on me?
I'm gonna snap my fingers. Yo, focus.
Wait, why am I tied up? Wait, why am I tied up?
I guess you like it. I mean, you didn't seem to mind it when we slapped you.
Oh. I don't even know your name. I am Malpheus Tryphon. Who are you?
I'm gonna point to the side banner of one of the cards that is from the thing that shows my name. That's us. I'm Yfronto. This is my party. We're the Heroes of Bunahver.
The Heroes of Bunahver. Wait. Oh, up. So he starts to kind of shift in his rope, and if you could, I've got an itch. It's right next to my right horn. Could you, friend, please?
I'm gonna look towards the
Don't trust him. Those tiefling horns can be sharp.
We're getting off subject.
yeah. We'll help you in a minute, but in the meantime we still need to figure out who it was you took this job from.
Okay. In Bunahver, there was a guy. We met him. Jeez, itch is so bad. He requested my presence at the inn. I met him in an alley. He did not show his face. He offered a sum of 1,500 gold coins if we bring back all 6 of you,
How tall
dead
is he?
or alive. Oh, just a little bit shorter than me. He's like 6'2". Is there anything else you need, or can you get this? It really itches.
Say maybe we kick him over onto these face down, and maybe just like someone like use their boot to scratch his side or something.
What's his head? It's next to his horn.
it's his head. Oh, I don't know if we want to do that then, because if we touch it, we might disappear with him. Because I remember seeing that guy touch on the hood of the robe, and then him and his friend disappeared.
If we just cut the horn off, probably won't itch so much. Same.
I guess
That's
this is the
always a
part where you
thought.
kill me.
Yeah, I think we just hand him over to Gove and Godberry and say, well, we've gotten as much information as we can out of him.
So you're handing him over to Govan?
I mean, do we want to, or do we want to just kill him?
I'm all for putting an arrow through him. That way no one touches him.
Sure.
Who's going to deliver the is that coup de grace? Is that coup d'etat? What is that? No, it's coup de grace.
Call that the final blow in these parts.
Yeah, who's going to do that?
Call that the boot to the head.
I mean, I can just finish the job.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead with advantage.
Watch him roll like a 1.
That's a 22. That's
oh, no,
a
that would
hit.
still kill him.
Yeah, you end his miserable life.
His skull's hanging out in his chest cavity right now.
Well,
So,
that was rather grotesque. perhaps we should get back to the road?
I suppose so. Meanwhile, I'm feeling kind of hungry. I need to go finish my food.
At this point, Antarius rides up. What happened to you?
Nothing more unusual than what usually happens.
Somebody wants the 6 of us either dead or alive. They requested it, and we got tricked into following guards. And then drawing a blank with nothing else. We can't find any other information.
Antarius leans down and kind of sifts through the belongings of this tiefling. He detaches a purse from him, opens it up, and dumps these 2 gems into his hand. Both are encased in a like this iron casing. They are red and green in color.
Curious.
Stop and go.
He sets them aside on the ground, and he continues to check the guy over, look through his pockets, checks all of his checks his pack through his belongings. Nothing of much value, except for these 2 crystals. I wonder what they do. What they're for? Maybe currency?
Is there any way we can like investigate or study them or take a look at them?
Sure. Do you want
Will I roll? Yeah.
Let's see what you have. Oh wait, what am I, stupid? Roll an Arcana. Oh yeah, these have magic in them. So they're when they're in
Apparently
close
not currency.
So when they're in close proximity to one another, they nullify each other because of the amount of iron in them. This is a type of fey magic. But otherwise, they can be brought apart and bound to a weapon by a spellcaster, or they can be bound to a piece of armor. But yeah, you have no idea what magic lies within them.
So if it's fey magic, do I sense it?
Roll an Arcana. This should be pretty easy for you. You can go ahead and roll that with advantage, so roll it twice.
I just tried, but it's not. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it just took a minute.
Ah, there we go. Nope.
Oh, well, okay.
Jeez.
I might be interested in taking these and seeing if there's a way I could infuse them into my daggers.
Actually, for all of you who are arcane-based spellcasters, I'll put this out there. Each of you can focus on one of the crystals for an hour and discern exactly what it is.
Sure.
Okay.
Which of you wants to take which?
I will.
There's a red and a green crystal.
I'll
take green.
Or I guess I'll take the red then.
Okay. All right,
Do
so
I
you
have to
guys.
roll anything for it, or am I just focusing?
Nope, you're just focusing. So anything that might break your concentration could come into play here. But otherwise, what are you guys doing for the next hour? I know you two are focusing, but the rest of you? Are you just going to stand around watching?
Mitsu's gonna go lay down and smoke somewhere.
Valphalin follows suit. He comes over to a nearby tree. He produces a book, and he sits down underneath the tree and begins reading with a pipe while you guys are focusing. Meanwhile, a few of the dwarves are kind of cleaning up the rest of the mess. You see a couple of the civilians kind of take some of the nicer garments from him and wear them. It's kind of gross.
No grosser than what they're used to being in.
Anybody else for the hour?
Talos is going to take a short rest and use hit die to heal.
Okay. So it is a 1 hour rest.
Tess is just literally gonna hang out and watch Cyrene and the Enfier do their thing.
They continue to focus on the awesome 9. So let me double check on that real quick. Give me just a moment here.
He gets. Does the pet companion get an additional hit die for each ranger level?
Say again?
Like, so the same number as the pet gets the same number of hit die as me, right?
Oh, yes, that is correct.
Oh, okay.
I totally did not take note of this, but I talked about it in a conversation, so I am...
So heals for 10.
Okay. So I'm going to have to... Awesome. So... Which one of you had the red?
I did.
Yours is a crystal that contains the spell Return. So once again, any arcane magician can essentially use a ritual to bind that spell into a weapon. Otherwise, the crystal can be used much like a scroll. One use, and then it loses its magical properties. So otherwise, you can bind that spell to a weapon, and that weapon will then permanently gain that property.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Actually, there was one more interesting thing on him, and it was actually an arrow that Antarius also pulled out and set aside. This is a very intricate-looking arrow. It has all different sorts of carvings on it, and to the touch, it feels rather warm. I'm going to also include that in one of you. Well, actually, no, I'm not. Yeah, so that arrow is also there. Let me see. So the other crystal that was
Green.
Yeah. I don't remember what spell I had loaded for that. You know what? Let's call it fire.
Green has fire and red has return.
Yup.
Okay. Sure.
Same deal here, though. You can either bind it to a weapon and give the weapon that property or armor, or you can cast something. I don't know, fireball with it. Maybe not fireball. Maybe like fire bolt or something. No, we'll say firebolt as a one-time spell sort of thing.
So I guess I let the people know.
Yeah, I'm going to say this is interesting, and for some reason I have some kind of return spell.
So now you all know, and knowing's half the battle.
G.I. Joe.
Pork chop sandwiches.
My God, did that smell good?
So what are you guys doing with those? What are you guys doing?
So I guess I'm going to spend some time trying to figure out a ritual to bind it into one of these daggers.
Okay.
Actually, maybe instead I'll put it in my short bow.
Oh. So what would that help with?
Like crossbow. Well,
You'd be able to like recall. So, are you familiar with the return spell? Well, yeah, you're familiar with the return spell. So,
well, I mean, not exactly, but that's why I was trying to look up the spell, but it didn't show in the compendium.
you know Thor's hammer?
Yeah.
Same thing. That's return.
Yeah. So Oh, so even better. When it fires an arrow, will recall it back to me and anything.
It's not
that's
really going to
attached
help much.
Well, it'll bring a guy close in, and then I can shank him with my dagger when he's coming back.
Wait, what? No. If like, okay, so if you were to put it on a dagger and you throw that dagger, you can then use the property of the dagger to bring it back to you.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, there you go. Now you've got
Okay,
it.
yeah. So yeah, I'll study up and I'll put the return spell on one of the daggers.
Okay. So we've got a yeah, so you can just do that by setting up a ritual, which will take you, I don't know, we call it 6 hours. You could probably do this in the back of the wagon as you guys travel.
Sure. At least as long as we're not interrupted for the travel.
Sure, as long as you're not interrupted. At which point you can then just continue the ritual.
Yeah.
Wait up for 1 second.
Okay. All right. Anybody else actions here? Ahara, Antarius approaches you with this arrow, hands it to you. He says, I also found this on his person. Looked interesting.
Was there anything special about the arrow?
Oh, it's kind of warm. Feels very light and well balanced.
Hmm.
It has these ornate carvings all over the metal pieces of it.
Interesting. I don't know if I'd be able to do any kind of investigation that's not. I'm not super well versed in magic. Yet.
You have any spellcasting ability whatsoever?
Yeah.
Well, you can also focus on it for an hour and discern exactly what it is.
Okay. I would like to do that.
Okay. This is also something that you could do in the wagon, considering you're not nothing breaks your concentration. So at this point, everybody starts packing everything up and getting ready to set back out. You see Antarius walk over toward Valphalin, and they have a bit of an exchange. Valphalin closes his book and stands up. And you see him kind of nod, and his face, his face kind of turns into sort of a grimace with his tusks, sort of kind of flaring against that bottom lip. The two return to the wagons, and they're just very quiet. Is everybody putting back into the wagons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Is everybody riding in the same wagon? You kind of have choices here. There are 4 different wagons. Most of them, the lead 2 wagons have are kind of filled to the brim with dwarves and their equipment. The rear 2 wagons, however, belong to the party.
I'll be in the third wagon.
I'll probably be in the last one.
Okay. I'm going to say Valphalin and Antarius pile into the third wagon as well. The last wagon also has a lot of the equipment in it. What other? Oh my gosh, my work is going crazy right now. So we got most people in the third wagon. You notice who all is in the third or fourth wagon? You guys get choices here.
Cyrene would probably be wherever Tess is.
Cyrene follows you into the third wagon.
Sit on my shoulder, my friend.
I feel like I'd want to hang out near Valphalin. We've kind of become somewhat friends.
Ah, cool. Okay, also in the third wagon. Misku?
Still AFK.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she had to go potty, so probably third wagon as well if everyone else is there.
Okay. Well, only Ian Fear seems to have went to the fourth wagon. Either way, I do have something for that, so give me just a moment, Ian Fear, and I'll get right back to you. As the wagons depart once more, and you all who are in the third wagon notice that there is sort of this somber quiet about Antarius and Valphalin, where Antarius is usually quite the conversationalist. Today he is rather quiet.
Probably, I'm gonna ask: is there something the matter?
Well, when Valphalin and I first arrived in Mekordika, we were assaulted by assassins in a similar fashion. They wounded Valphalin, and I probably should have went after them, but I instead chose to stay behind and kill my friend. They got away. We still don't know the nature of the attack. I'm wondering if it's related.
Well, you should regret nothing. I would have done the same.
Indeed.
When we were attacked, they mentioned specifically the 6 of us. So that would include self, Fear, Ahara, Misku, Cyrene. Would that either be Valphalin or Antarius that would be number 6?
That's right.
The captain is worried that he has brought you into his problems.
Oh, so we're being targeted because we know him.
Antarius scoffs. Yes, that's right.
What problems would these be?
Well,
Story time.
as I said before,
please.
when we left, oh my gosh, what?
Why would you be attacked? Who did you piss off? What happened? You may have to remind me. My memory's not good.
When we first left Imajokia, we left to investigate the attack on the Queen's life. But we have always been neutral in world politics, so we don't know that this attack, or what warranted this attack. Just that the attacker at the scene had all of these various pendants with the different symbols of the great houses. However, before we could get investigation teams in, the entire scene was cleared. Bodies and all.
Maybe someone doesn't want you finding out.
Obviously. It is so. Valphalin was brought on later. I met him in, what was the name of that town? I met him in Bjorvafik later on, after the Queen had sent me out to investigate here. But after we arrived, or shortly after we arrived, we were accosted by assassins. They came in, and once we wounded one of them, they all vanished.
Pretty much just like what happened with us.
In fear, your concentration is interrupted as Govin rounds the rear of the wagon.
Yeah. Why? What's going on?
Hoists himself up, sits down in the back near you. Fancy a drink?
No, unfortunately, I must focus in on some duties to help in protecting this caravan.
Oh, I see. I'll leave you to it then. With that, he starts to get up and proceed back to the back of the cart. where he grabs onto the side and hoists himself back off. You can't help but feel that there may have been some missed opportunity in this. This man, Rolo, Tangle, whatever. Do you all have any previous knowledge of him?
He showed us to the cave.
But nothing before that?
No, he was just some rude person in a bar.
Hmm.
Something
Could the
tells
cave
me
could the cave have been a trap to try and take us out beforehand, and since that didn't work, they had to send more assassins this way?
could be
Seems like a good
either he
hypothesis.
was involved before or he's been involved in something since.
Could be that they just paid him. He could be some mercenary or a killer for hire like that.
Who was it again that pointed out Rolo to us? Who told us to go talk to Rolo about the cave?
So that happened because he was being rude in the bar. And he,
And I had charmed him.
yeah,
my
he,
Mm.
friend.
Ahara
So we
provoked
just
him.
saw him, because I'm trying to remember him. We saw him randomly in a bar, and then we charmed him.
So Ahara had provoked him, and then he came over, and Ian Fear charmed him, and essentially squeezed the information out of him in his charmed state. So he led you guys to the cave after that, but claimed to have no previous knowledge of it, other than just having seen it and gone in himself and ran.
That and the fact that he wanted half of whatever we got inside there, and we were just like, or we could take most, if not all of it.
Yeah, he did ask for payment. That was a thing.
Curious.
Hmm. I wish we had asked the tiefling what his association with Tanglestrand was. It is a shame.
Indeed.
Ahara, after an hour, you're able to discern that the arrow that you are focused on is actually an arrow of seeking. Are you familiar
Arrow
with it
of
already?
Seeking?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm vaguely familiar.
Yeah, okay.
Is it the same?
That does exactly what it says on the 10. It seeks the target.
Right.
It's the Patriot missile, or the Patriot arrow from Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah.
Seeking.
Yeah, it is a arrow of Sea King. So you fire it, it turns into a fish.
Born first.
And the caravan continues down the road. Seems like I didn't have enough planned for this session, doesn't it? Why don't we... What do we have, a 2? Okay. Let me see. Are you guys going to be mad at me right now? See what happens.
As long as it doesn't automatically kill us off.
You know what? No, let's use Don John for this. I don't like that one that I just pulled up. Come on. Open up the thing. There we go. I see, I see. You guys are traveling for some time, and the caravan comes to a stop. This happens about, you know what, just before the end of the day. So the sun is starting to set, caravan comes to a stop. And you realize that it's about time that we started setting up camp. So the wagons are circled, and tents are starting to be set up. Don't really have an easy way of doing anything like this, huh? How am I going to handle this? Should have prepared more. Let me see. Yeah, I don't really want to start a combat right now. That's not a good idea. I'm sorry, guys. This is all I planned. I actually expected that combat to take quite a bit longer. And also the questioning face. Tell you what. Let me grab something real quick here. Guys, we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. Right? No, that's not a good one. I'm sorry. Give me give me a second, guys. Oh my god. Let's do No, that's also not good. Man, I don't really have anything at this point. Gosh, so I'll tell you what on this. We've got about 30 minutes left in the set here. So what I'm looking for is what you guys are going to be doing during the next few hours of your journey. After camp, considering camp and all of that. So camp included, what would your character be doing during this time? Or, alternatively, if you have any of the characters that are currently present that you'd like to open a conversation with, then you should. The kind of things that you could potentially be doing are maybe studying a craft, practicing a specific trade. You could deal a hand of a card game if you want, if you've got a gaming kit on hand.
I think I would probably, if the ritual has been completed and everything has been prepared on the dagger, I would start trying to become proficient at practicing throwing a dagger and returning it back.
You guys are seeing him do this, though. So he's at camp and he's sitting on this log, I guess, and you're kind of tossing, or you're standing, I guess, in front of a tree and tossing this dagger at it.
And then sort of like making sure that the only thing that would be behind me would be like just the one of the coaches or something like that. Like no people are behind me just in case.
Oh yeah, yeah. You definitely being as safe as you can about it. Um, and sure enough, each time you will it to be so, the dagger returns back to your hand.
Is the stream still supposed to be in Be Right Back?
No, this is my preview mode.
Okay.
We're live. Anyone else practicing a craft, reading through tomes, if you have tomes on your person?
So since Cyrene is still a little not feeling too hot, she's gonna be like sitting and probably eating like sweet butter and drinking like nectar.
Okay. Yeah, you can totally be, gorging food, eating food.
Misku's had a day full of bonk, so she's just gonna post up under a tree and just doze off.
Now Phelan goes back to his reading. He plants under a tree, sticks his sword into the ground next to him.
Ahara, maybe you can teach your dog to pee on command.
I'm definitely going to be, working with bonding and training of Talos. I'm also somewhat fascinated with some of the spell casting that I've gotten recently, and kind of, I don't know, just allegorically checking into more arcane things, or the nature type magics.
About an hour passes, and you're still not asleep, of course, Ahara, because you hardly need it. Valphalin approaches you, sits down next to you, and on the ground at your feet, he sets a tankard. Ale?
Anytime. I'll reach, grab some sips from that.
He,
Something on your mind?
He stuffs this book that he was holding back into a fold in his robe. He says, "It is the story of the steadfast hunter. Have you heard it?"
I'm not sure I'm familiar with it.
Sounds like a song you heard once.
Maybe it's possible I know that song from an old orc or
Yes. Well, it got me thinking. Why did you set out on this adventure?
well, I mean originally I was in the forest. I came across this sea. I had a friend once who showed me some things I hadn't seen, and he brought me over here because my homeland was in turmoil, facing lots of fighting. As we came over, of course, he's didn't live nearly as long as I do, and that's been quite some time since then. But I've just sort of been wandering, and when I came upon this party, I helped with one thing, and then here I am, still trying to find my place.
How long have you been here?
Well, it's been about 200 years since then, I guess.
Have you wandered the entire time?
I found places here and there where I would settle in. I guess I've been alone for most of the time, but I would settle in for a while. Sometimes I'd find some tribes. I'm always hesitant to trust. It feels like there's orcs everywhere.
In fear, you are pretty nearby to all of this, and you are overhearing this. Actually, all of you are hearing the conversation that's going on. Is that okay that they're in earshot, Ahara?
Yeah, I don't have any problems with that.
I see. What may I ask, is it like being in the wilds?
Well, uh, it's nice at first. It's soothing. It's quiet. Everything around you is sort of in tune with you, and you grow with it. Over time, it does get lonely, and the loneliness sort of comes in waves, not all at once, just a bit here and a bit there. There's a lot of changing like the tides. Sometimes you're content with it. Sometimes you just wish someone were around.
That is interesting. Definitely something that the books of the monastery could not do justice.
Understandably. Did you find yourself alone there?
No. I always had the brothers at the monastery to keep me company. One day, one of the knights from the nearby town, the nearby city, came in to receive blessings. He saw me as I hauled kegs, and thought that I would make a worthy apprentice. So I left that place.
Interesting.
I trained
Want to be
in
an
the
apprentice?
I trained in the weapon, I trained in weapons for a time. We never fought other people. However, we always fought beasts of the wild. But one day, fighting a massive bear, it was just too much for my master. He was slain, and I knew that I could not return to the castle. The other guards, they shunned me often. For my appearance, you see. At this point, he pulls the hood from over his head, and you notice that he has some very striking features that differ from other Dragonborns that you've seen, albeit you haven't seen very many of them. But what you have seen, he is quite a bit different. He seems to have a bit of an underbite and tusks. Sort of an orcish feature.
Are you part orc?
I do not know. I am what I am.
I've never been one to trust an orc.
I was found as a hatchling by the monks, which is what brought me there. They don't know of my parents, and nor do I. I have never inquired into it further.
Well, I've always found you to be fairly trustworthy.
And are you, which brings me here.
I knew an orc once. He saved me from the other orcs. You wouldn't be alone in my trust, but there aren't many like you.
Indeed. Well, comrades then, and he takes a swig of this ale.
Indeed, and I give a raise of the glass and swig as
And he does the same, actually. This is actually kind of the most active you've seen him. Usually he just seems to be sort of a stick in the mud, but now he's kind of loose and maybe a little drunk. And he turns
at its best.
He turns to you, Tess, and he says, "What of you? Why do you continue on with this lot?"
Tess walks over and she joins the group, and she kind of plops down on the ground, like moving her tiefling tail out of the way. And she says, "Well, I'm after a goal to become one of the best heroes ever."
A lofty goal.
Yes, I've been on this journey for I can't even tell anymore. I'm not good at telling time. I'm not. It's never been my strong suit. I haven't been alone though. I have Mother with me, and she kind of like pats her bag that she had sat down by her side, and she gives a big smile.
Your mother is in there.
Oh yes. Oh, I haven't introduced you to Mother. Um, from her bag, Tess produces a human skull. It's kind of stained, but otherwise it's very, very clean. She keeps up with it. She cleans it regularly. You can tell there's no stench to it or anything. It's been completely cleaned. She says, "Mother, my friends, Mother."
You would
Well.
see Fear's jaw just like drop.
Tess hugs the skull very close to her chest, and she smiles and says, "I do love my mother so, so much."
Do you worship death?
I've been raised with a healthy respect for death, yes. I'm a little different from most clerics you may meet along the way.
Yes, I've read of your ilk. Many of them honorable indeed, albeit misunderstood.
That's what a lot of people say about Mother when they see her, but I appreciate the understanding.
Yes.
Cyrene's like totally down for it. Being Fae, you know, they don't look at death as something bad or like negative.
It's natural.
It's just a part of the cycle. So Cyrene is like, "Oh, good to meet you," and she like smiles at the skull and like touches it.
Ian Fear, how do you feel about this?
I mean, you just like he's just like motionless for like almost a full like 30 seconds with his jaw just dropped, and he's like,
Are you okay?
Tess points to Ian Fear and says, "That's the reaction I usually get." Quite hard making friends when you have your mother around all the time, I found.
I mean, it's one thing to pull the murder weapon from your dead best friend, but carrying their remains around with you? I mean, and I thought I was obsessed.
Valphalin proceeds to stand up for a moment, and he stretches his back. You hear this as he then proceeds to walk over to the back of one of the carts. And he returns with several more tankards of ale, sets them down at each of your feet. An ale for all of my friends.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna need one to process this.
Tess chugs the ale.
You seem bothered.
I mean, I know death exists, but whenever I've seen death besides at the hands of my enemies, it's been people close to me, and I don't generally like it. Like, even when we dispatch these enemies, there's still a little bit of some remorse about having to do so. But
And you,
it's
Tiefling, you are quiet. Apathetic, maybe? Misku, that's you.
Oh man, I said Misku dozed off.
Oh, did Misku doze off? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
Misku posts up for sleep.
he totally says that, but Misku's asleep, and he sits there waiting for an answer, and when one doesn't come,
just
he turns back to Ian Fear. Death is a natural thing. It occurs in all. Just the fact that someone might worship such a thing, while it might be taboo, does not necessarily mean that one is evil.
I mean, for me, death is sort of, well, it's more common to me than to my people, or at least to my city. We don't have anyone who's lived nearly as long as Ahara, but as we are mostly a collection of half elves, we tend to live longer than most.
That is something I will have to ask you about sometime, Ahara. I would like insight into the things that your longevity has, or the experiences that your longevity has brought.
It doesn't feel different to me, of course. In fact, most of the decisions people make are often rash and short to me. It seems that everyone is always in a rush.
Ah, yes. I remember reading a writing from... Oh, who was that author? I don't remember. But also an elf. He spoke of these decisions of people and how one's longevity may yield more of a carefully thought out sense of being. Would you agree with that?
That sounds correct. That's sounds like how I would feel.
Is he getting winded again? He always does this when he drinks. And Terius walks up and plops down next to him. My friend, for someone as closed off as you do open up very easily when there's alcohol involved.
Be a bit of a lightweight.
And not that he'd have you believe. That is not true. I can hold my alcohol like the best of them.
Why not have a drink with us, Antarius?
Sure. He sits down, grabs one of the mugs, starts sipping on it. And you, my friend, never drink enough. We are no closer in our investigation. We aren't. Maybe we'll learn something on the expedition on our way to the Coco Mountains. And Darius seems to kind of stare off into space.
And Tess is kind of absent-mindedly, like, polishing the skull and just kind of cleaning it up.
Is heroism your only drive?
Well, there's a goal to all of it, though. It's a little complicated. See, no, I'm not sure if I've ever been given the truth my entire life. Some say my mother summoned me because she's human and I looked nothing like her. Others claim to have witnessed her actually giving birth to me. But my mother herself once told me that if I become a great hero, that one day I can be human. It's kind of what I've been after ever since she told me. But I don't know.
I have read stories. I've read works of mostly fiction that depict adventurers who are able to change their form based on acts of great heroism. Perhaps these are not always works of fiction. You're drinking too much again. He
I like
always
to
says
think that someday I'll get there.
I think that you should continue your journey and see where that road takes you. He raises his glass.
I agree.
He seems rather animated this evening. His jaw kind of cracks into a large grin, and the moonlight kind of shines off of his red scales.
Tess lifts up her glass and the skull at the same time, like one in each hand. She says, yes. She, like, cheers with him.
As a fae, am I able to tell if that's bullshit or not?
What?
Like, about her changing into, like, a like a person? Because like Fae have changeling power and stuff like that.
You've never
To see
heard
if
of
that's a thing that could happen.
you've never heard of such a thing.
Okay, so she's just gonna pat her lightly.
About the
There.
about the closest thing you've heard of people like changing forms and the like are druids, who would often come into your forest to commune with nature. Other than that, no, nothing like that. Not from like not like that. There are tales of people that you've heard who have ascended to godhood, and they then can transform, but they always maintain some form of their original.
Normal, like
Yeah.
self.
Yeah.
Okay, so not gonna disclose any of it. Just gonna pat her like, okay.
Tess smiles
think
at her
that?
and says, "One day the spell will be broken."
Oh yeah, honey. Yes, one day. Yes.
Tess, you staring into your drink, your reflection. You can see your reflection very clearly in the liquid. And at that moment, you hear in your mind, Tess, Tess, Tess. The reflection quickly changes to what looks like a very, very large demon.
Startled, I guess, Tess will drop her drink and make an audible gasping noise.
What is it? Valphalin grabs his sword. He stands up. Do you see something?
I may have drank too fast. I saw something in my drink. It was large. It looked like a demon.
You can identify it as a bearded devil. Long beard, made of knives. Fucking sucks. Evil son bitch. Don't fucks with them.
Bearded devil.
Actually, you've seen one before. All of you actually have seen one before. It was the demon that was summoned by the Duragar. It was not that exact demon, though. Different demon.
And I think I'm also hearing it too. I'm hearing now and then that back at the first camp, I heard a voice tell me not to eat the stew, and that was before everyone got sick. And now I just heard it say my name, and I saw it. I think I saw it.
Interesting. And yet it seems not to have harmed you.
No, it seems to be looking out for me.
I do not like this. Still.
Cyrene's like, did you ever see your dad?
I don't have a father, not that I know of.
You have to have something.
Why do you say that?
Oh, I don't know, because most things do. Fairies don't, of course. We're born from spring.
Hypocrite.
Everything else has a dad.
I've never met one.
That's how nature goes.
Yes. Who is your daddy and what does he do?
The closest I've ever had to a father figure was a very mean father priest back at my village, but he didn't like me.
What did he do that makes you think that?
Think what? That he was mean?
Yes.
Oh, he did this, and she lifts up her mother's skull.
Oh. He kind of buries his face into a tankard.
Oh, it's okay. I never explained that. He doesn't like black magic, and it was something that my mother was curious about. He started a witch hunt. He was after both of us, but I got out just in time. Came back, collected her skull after they beheaded her in front of everyone.
Graphic.
Very. Well, it seems that otherwise fate has brought us together and kept us here at least this long. I look forward to continuing my journey with you. As do I, Antarius says.
Same here. I've never had friends like this before.
And my bow.
And my tale. Does anyone know of the ruins that we are traveling for?
Does Cyrene?
No. None of you do. Redundant question.
I don't believe so.
Perhaps that's something that we should eventually inquire with the dwarves about. It would be nice to
That would
have
make sense.
some detail about our destination.
I agree.
However, that is a problem for another day, perhaps. For now, I grow tired. I grow tired. I grow tired. And with that, Val Phelan stands and lumbers to one of the tents. I think I should be putting in 2. We have a long day of travel ahead of us tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm also sleepy. It's been a long day.
Evening. And Antarius also follows suit. Ianfear, with one final will of your, one final will and one final, I guess, pull of your hand, you summon your dagger back to your hand, and it comes back from the tree that it was in. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, and I hope that you enjoyed the episode.
Maybe check the chat message before we go.
I see that the priest was a magical racist. Or was there another chat message? Did I miss something else? Okay, that was it. All right. Well, guys, as always, this is VGpunx, the video game punk, signing off. Keep a song in your heart. See you next week.